Guard talks. Where to? Work time. Who doesn't love going to work? She said rather enthusiastically. Yeah, what should we talk about today in Car Talks? That was a cool thing to talk about. Space is always cool. Andrew Yang, probably do a whole episode on him. I do think the Yang Gang is kind of a cult, or is growing cult-like, you know, where you got a lot of people who are, you know, way too into Andrew Yang. I mean, I would think it's, you know, kind of unhealthy when you're unable to find flaws in the person, because, you know, everyone has flaws, even I have flaws. That sounds like a very narcissistic thing to say. Yeah, I guess maybe one of my flaws is, you know, kind of narcissism. Well, I always assume I'll be more competent than, you know, basically anyone else in most positions. You know, like a battlefield, you know, I'm really good at flying the helicopter. You know, someone else takes it, and I'm like stuck on like the side seat thinking, God, you're gonna crash the helicopter in like 2 minutes. Or 20 seconds, you know. 2 minutes is, yeah, I think they usually keep the helicopter alive for like 4 or 5 minutes, at least. Because, you know, eventually, if you kill like the enemy helicopter 3 times, usually like the enemy pilot's like super into, you know, super into flying the helicopter. If you kill him like 3 or 4 times, you know, eventually he gets mad, you know, and he starts figuring out ways to kill you, you know. I mean, you can only play like the same trick so many times. Like, you know, I use miniguns and laser guided, so that way I have, you know, a better chance of taking out. Well, I mostly use the laser guided for that one map, Parasol Storm. Yeah, so I could take out, you know, like attack boats more easily. I don't use heat seekers. I just fly under radar. You know, if they're using heat seekers, you know, I'll try to like ambush them or something. Like get behind them, like fly under radar, get behind them. You know, but eventually they get mad, so they turn on like the air radar, and the heat seekers, and the miniguns, and everything. There we go. What's really annoying is like when they get their friends to someone had a car crash. Let's see if we can look up at it. There you go. Ooh, terrible. Like what, 3 or 4 cars? Yeah. That one car it's like missing like a wheel and stuff. It's a pretty bad crash. They take off your wheel. There's more cars damaged back there. Yeah, be good at driving, you know. So anyways, yeah, you know, I think I'm pretty good at flying a helicopter, and I usually am better than whoever takes it, because, you know, they take it, and they usually lose the duel with the other enemy helicopter, and then our helicopter's destroyed. There's an enemy helicopter flying around, you know, really causing chaos. But if I get it, you know, I usually win the duel. I mean, I think I win the duel like 80% of the time, you know, so pretty consistently. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, if there's like, you know, jets or something involved, it gets a lot harder. Like, I think on like the map, what's it called? Goldman Railroad, you know, you have to take out the enemy jet first. because that attack jet's just too powerful against the helicopter. So, you know, you start the map, hopefully you've gotten, you know, the helicopter. First thing you want to do, you know, is get behind this little tower that, you know, protects you from, like, the enemy jet, because he won't be able to charge you if you're in front of the tower. And you use this, like, cover, and you try to line up heat seekers on him while he's engaged with your jet. You know, because if they have, like, a good jet pilot, you know, your jet pilot's just not, your jet pilot's always gonna suck. Like, that's, like, rule number one, I think, with aerial combat battlefield. So, you know, you gotta take out his jet, then you can go focus on the helicopter. Hopefully the helicopter hasn't realized, you know, that you're wasting your heat seekers on the jet. And, like, hopefully, like, your pilot's just, like, not super bad. So, they, like, hopefully they can take out the enemy jet when you hit it with a heat seeker. If they can't do it, you know, your pilot sucks. Yeah, anyways, that's my, yeah, narcissism. Trying to find some flaws. But, yeah, I think the people like Andrew Yang, really kind of adopted socialism way too quickly. But when you think that a lot of them are Bernie Sanders supporters, kind of makes sense. Now here's an interesting piece of information. If you ask like a lot of candidates who their second choice is, or like a lot of people who their second choice is, it's almost always Bernie Sanders. You know, so I think as things start to narrow, you know, I think you'll start to see more people go towards Bernie. I think he's at like, some polls you see him at like 14%, you know, some polls you see him at like, you see him within the margin of error of like Elizabeth Warren or Joe Biden. You know, Pete Buttigieg being up there. But yeah, I don't think Yang is going to go anything past, you know, maybe 10% at best. Super optimistically. I think more realistically, maybe 7%. If he's lucky. Well, I was really happy to see. I watched this, you know, The Hill, and Kamala Harris is at like less than 1%. I thought that was pretty awesome. You know, at least we got one of the bad candidates like out like right away. You know, and she was a bad candidate. You know, and it's scary because she actually pulled. You know, there was a moment where a lot of people thought, you know, she was going to win the thing. She used to poll pretty highly until the second debate. You know, completely destroyed it. Everyone realized you're disingenuous, you know, you're terrible, you're corrupt, no one likes you. Good for them, you know. I mean, everyone else has been saying, like, all the Republicans have been saying it forever, but no one listened to them. But, you know, progressives kind of went after her, and she got what she deserved. And, yep, embarrassing. Hopefully they don't elect her to the Senate again, you know. I would be happy if they didn't do that. You know, she's a terrible senator. All she did was try to trap, you know, people. You'd be like, you know, it's just so stupid. Like, you could tell that she wasn't there honestly, you know. She was there to, like, get sound bites in. Like, there's, like, videos of her, like, interrogating people. And, like, they'll, like, edit the subtitles to make it look like, you know, the person is, like, there's, like, this famous example of, like, Brett Kavanaugh where he's, like, quoting, like, a Supreme Court decision on something else, you know, or a lower court decision on something else. And then she used that, she, like, took out the quotation marks and then capitalized one of the first letters to make it, like, the beginning of a sentence. She used that and tried to, you know, slander him with it. And I think for the most part it actually worked, only a few of us really caught it. You know, everyone's gonna fall for it, already fell for it. So, but yeah, what a terrible person. God, there's so much traffic. Yeah, I got an idea. Let's repair like the entire road all at once. Actually, that might be a good idea. I'm not sure. I mean, whatever it takes the least amount of time, you know. I just want to cut total time spent on road repairs. But, yeah, I think, like, a lot of the problem is the Angry Yang gang is actually pretty bad at math. For example, you know, his plan to fund UBI is going to... Here's the thing. If Andrew Yang was, like, right about, like, the automation index, then his VAT tax would fund UBI, you know. But if Andrew Yang is wrong about it, this fact tax won't fund UBI, and we're figuring out that it doesn't fund it. Like, even he admits that, you know, like, he doesn't have the money for it. But what he thinks is that there'll be economic growth of like $600 billion, which I think is, you know, like a revenue growth of $600 billion, which I think is a little ambitious, especially when you're imposing a tax that's supposed to take out like 1.8 trillion or something, you know. So if you have a tax that's trying to take out 1.8 trillion, and then in addition to that, eventually, you know, another like tax is supposed to take out like another $500 to $600 billion from a growth economy. So he uses that. I think those numbers are way too ambitious. I think he's overestimating, you know, job creation. Because, like, here's the thing. If that money's in the hands of, like, you know, a really competitive tech company, the competitive tech company is going to be creating jobs too, you know. It's just maybe not jobs in the area you want, you know. Like, the only good thing UBI for is wealth distribution, you know. It's not, it doesn't, you know, make people richer, you know. It's, you know, you got finite sum of money, and just allocating it to different people. So, and sometimes I think you need that. Very rarely in history has it been needed, implemented, and worked out well. You know, I think it tends to work out not very well. Yeah. I mean, I think like what, war bonds was probably like one of the few cases where it worked out well. The difference with war bonds is it wasn't wealth distribution. It was like, you know, funding, you know, jobs to do something. Yeah, but I mean, I think there'll probably be less economic activity with the freedom dividend, honestly. I mean, he made the point that people are still going to go to work, you know, but, you know, someone might take that Saturday off or something, you know. You don't get that amount of work back. Some people, you know, they'll just be like, you know, dropping the bucket, they don't really care. But other people will be like one of their most important things about their life, you know, and they'll just completely waste all the money. Like I think people are too benevolent when they assume that like European social programs work well in America. You know, like the Swedish prison model in America, I think it's just like ripe for disaster. Yeah. But and then also he assumes that, you know, he'll be able to save money because of like Medicare opt out, like the welfare benefits opt out, so people opt out other welfare benefits, and then the money from those programs will go to his program. Again, misguided, because he forgot to factor in that these programs are deficit funded, you know, so you can't replace, you know, one program with a deficit funded version of, you know, different version of it. So, you know, he kind of messed up on his math, you know, which is kind of ironic for a guy who's like, you know, logo is math and everything. I really hate when people like take like a good concept and then they just like ruin its name and no one likes it anymore. Yeah, Andrew Yang sucks at math. That's my synopsis.